Hey gang, these are 4 questions that we're going to cover tomorrow for the summative assessments after the Farmer DJ unit. So the first question is, which is not equal to the equation P equals 2L plus 2W? And that's the equation for perimeter equals 2 times the length plus 2 times the width. So go ahead and pause it now, try to solve it on your own, and then I will do it for you in just a second. Alright, hopefully you felt comfortable solving that one, and we're going to go through this, and it says which one is not equivalent to these options, and the problem with that is we don't really know what we're solving for yet. So, excuse me, this should actually be equal to L. So all of these equations, actually, we're solving for L, and we only know that because of looking at our options, which are down here. Okay, so I guess we're just going to solve for our equation. P equals 2L plus 2W. And the first thing we're going to do is get rid of our 2W because we're looking for our L value. And this 2L is going to stay together until the end. So in order to remove both of these two things, you can see that we're adding 2W up top here. Well, the inverse operation is to subtract 2W. So I'm going to subtract 2W from both sides, and I'm left with P minus 2W on the left is equal to 2L on the right. Liam, I'm making a video. You can't be loud. So we're solving for L, and we need to divide both sides by 2 to get rid of this 2 right here. And that's going to simplify to L equals P minus 2W over 2. Okay, so if we look back at our other options here, you can see that this answer is very similar to this answer. The only difference is this has a fraction bar right here, and this just has a division symbol. And we know that fractions are the same as division, so this actually is very similar to answer A. Alright, so if we continue moving down a little bit further, don't know why you didn't move with it. Let's simplify this part a little bit. And if we rewrite that, we can actually write this as P divided by 2, because P here is being divided by 2, minus 2W over 2, and you can see that is what remains up top, equals L. Alright, well, P divided by 2 looks a lot like this P divided by 2, minus 2W divided by 2, 2W divided by 2. You can see that this actually is equivalent to C. Alright, so simplifying this just a little bit further, we can't actually take care of this anymore because it's the same thing. So I'm just going to rewrite that as P over 2. But this part can be simplified. You'll notice that there's a 2 here and a 2 here that we can cancel each other out. So our negative just comes down from here. Our 2's cancel and we're just left with W though. And looking at this, P divided by 2 minus our W leaves us with this looking a whole lot like answer D. So if we've got A here, C here, and D here, you know that the correct answer has to be this value right here. So which one is not equivalent to the equation? It's B. Moving forward, which equation is equivalent to AX plus BY equals C? So at this point, go ahead and pause it and see if you can solve this one on your own. Alright, so once again you'll notice here that all of these are solving for Y. So that's going to be our hint that we're going to look for this right here. As we just did before, let's subtract AX from both sides because those two things can move together to the other side of this equation. Let me put the line down here. This might help you see it differently. So we're taking our AX from the left side and moving it to the right side because we want our Y variable by itself. So when we simplify, we're only left with BY over here because these cancel off. And then we have C minus AX. Final step is to divide this side by B so we can get Y alone. And our equation looks like Y equals C minus AX all over b. Notice it's important here to recognize that we're dividing everything on the left side by b, just this part. But we have to divide both of these parts by b as well. Make sure you divide everything by b in this final step. Okay? So our correct answer looks like this one, which is c minus ax over b. Hopefully you got that one right. In order to solve the equation, force equals mass times acceleration, you must divide both sides by m and then multiply both sides of the equation by f. Is this true or false? Go ahead and pause it. So moving forward here, force equals mass times acceleration. And it's saying we want to solve for m. So if we think about isolating m, our final answer is going to be m equals something. So in order to do that, we want to get rid of this a over here. So m times a. Well, the inverse of multiplication right here, we would actually want to divide by a to get our answer of mass equals, those two cancel off, so we're just left with mass equals force over acceleration. Well, that's not what the question says. In order to solve the equation, force equals mass times acceleration, you must divide both sides by m. Well, you can see we didn't want to divide both sides by m. And then multiply both of the sides of the equation by f. Well, we didn't need to move f either. We could do this in one step simply by dividing by a here. What that did, caused these a's to cancel. Our equation just looks like m equals this stuff. So in this case, the answer would be false. We do not want to do that in order to solve for mass. Moving on to the last question. Go ahead and pause it, try this on your own. You should feel pretty comfortable with this one. We've done a lot of examples like this. The relationship between velocity, distance, and time is expressed by the formula v equals d over t. Which formula is correctly written to solve for t? So this question is telling us to solve for it, and which one is equal to that? So the difficult part with this one is that the t is in the denominator. But that's not terrible because we know that d is being divided by t. So the inverse operation is to, instead of dividing by t, we want to multiply by t. So we have one t on top and one on the bottom. And we're left with d equals t v. We're not done because we want this t alone. So our inverse operation, instead of t times v, instead of times v, the inverse is to divide by v to get it alone. One up top, one in the denominator. Our final answer is t equals d over v. And you can see that relates to this answer right here. So our correct answer in this case is D. Hope that helped.